Find out. I think we're ready to head into map 2. And here we are on to sub-base for map 2. It is GV's map pick, and they are starting on the defense, so hopefully they'll be able to get on a pretty good roll here. Early util getting tossed in. BaiSha across the board. Well, a bunch of trades. Looks like it is slightly favoring BaiSha. I guess you could argue on the attack, even trades are favorable. Splits the defense up a little bit. And they've done a bit more damage as well to 7 to boot.
Yeah, now they can group up pretty easily here towards this A bomb site. There's only one player able to hold off this push. It's going to be FaZe on the top of the A control room, looking to see if he can maybe spot them crossing down below. It's going to be some tough timing here, though. He actually looks away at quite possibly the worst moment. Now they've got full control over the lower bomb side, and it's all going to be left up to the retake. He does have that support coming through. Creeds and 7 both rotating very quickly. The nade stack actually doing a decent amount of damage there onto 9. Takes him about halfway down, and now Creeds, he's actually going to run right through the smoke here. The counter flash blinding perfectly, and he gets the opening kill. XQ1 trades it down, but it's all onto FaZe here, and he's down very quickly. 7, he's only got 1 HP. And it's going to be Xiao who actually finishes the job here with a nice 2-piece.
Yeah, Xiao, he missed that first shot on the cross, and that's what resulted in the Planter going down, but didn't make the same mistake twice. And had he not even hit that shot with the pistol, I think the nade probably would have finished 7 off anyway. So pretty comfortable close in the end there from BaiSha, and largely thanks to Xiao for that one. Back to square one now for GV. Creeping their way through the vent. Auto shotty works out nicely. Lun maybe not expecting that one.
Yeah, this is definitely something GV brings out quite a bit, so a good read there to get it, but Xiao answers right back, takes down FaZe on the drop down out of vents, and already they're putting that extra pressure towards the A bomb site where Awesome, he's kind of alone here. Xiao, another big shot, takes him down, and now Snox has to try and slide into position, but it's already a little bit too late. 9 going to be here on the back of site. Snox good for 1. 577 gets taken down quite low here, but it's not going to matter because Woonan comes back swinging with a 2K of his own, and now 7's left alone.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, if 9's not having a great game, which so far he's not, he's at 0-2. You've got someone like Woonan who can step up in a spot like that. 577 as well. It's looking pretty solid for BaiSha regardless. And bad news for GV.
Yeah, definitely not the best of starts, but this time around, Awesome gets a big headshot onto Woonan to kick off the round, and they have full control over the BC here. Now it's going to be Snox looking for that secondary frag as well. Awesome alongside him, holding on to the B control room. But Xiao, he's definitely hungry for the refrag from his position as well. 577 starting to slide in to try and retake this. Most teams, they just fall off and go A at this point, but BaiSha, they're eager to take the fight right back.
Yeah, one of those things that I've noticed today is that the Chinese teams do tend to get caught off guard from defensive aggression. This is another example of it, but when the round devolves into a bit more standard play, that is where they do find their advantages. Xiao's been given a lot of room to work, but gets forced back by the util from Creeds. We've got plenty of time still here for BaiSha to work with.
Yeah, it's going to be a full rotation now, coming back towards the B bomb site from BaiSha, just leaving Xiao here to try and catch the rotators with that Om in hand. He actually almost is able to find one there onto Awesome, and there's only really one player defending this B bomb site as well, so a pretty decent read coming out from BaiSha. It's going to put a lot of pressure onto the likes of Snox to hold this off, and he doesn't really have any health to work with.
Yeah, Snox and Awesome quite low. They do need to be a little careful, but hey, there's still guns in the game, and Snox capitalizing on that fact, takes down Xiao. Creeds is all the way behind BaiSha. They were not prepared for that at all. Much better looking round for GV. Perhaps the aggression is the key to victory for GV on sub-base.
Yeah, it seems to be the case, catching them off guard a lot of the time so far at least. They're going to try and do the same thing again here. This time, BaiSha a little bit more prepared. It's going to be 9 who finds the double kill. 577 finds another, and it's already a 5-on-2 situation. FaZe and Creed's trying to swing around and find something else out of this, but Xiao's going to find one of them already as well. Creed's now left alone, and it's an early 1v5.
Yeah, that is BaiSha just saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And of course, they do not get fooled twice. Completely adapt their take on the control room and shut GV down. You're not going to get away with that kind of a strategy twice. Certainly not twice in a row.
Yeah, and this is where they've really got to try and get a hold of things quickly on the side of GV. A 4-1 against them is not an ideal starting point, considering the GR side is usually the more comfortable side for a lot of teams on this map, so they've definitely got their work cut out for them. It's going to be BaiSha, though, just taking their time here. I like their approach. They haven't been too over-eager to take these fights. They're just trying to wait and see if GV is going to make the mistake of taking them head-on all by themselves. It is Creeds who actually is going for this jump spot on the vents, spots the shoulder, I believe, of XQ Lund there. He's going to go ahead and fall off to a more passive position, but the jump spots here could pay off.
Yeah, 577 is holding on to that C4, so you can very much assume that this is going to be an A take from BaiSha down the stairs. Got a two-pronged defense. Flash goes out, pops right in the face of Snox. He's going to be run down. Awesome, only good for one, and a two-man setup there. Only grabbing one kill is just not going to be enough. XQ Lund is in the perfect spot to strike here as well if he finds his timing. Obviously, you've got 7 watching it, but... well, the flash is good. It's great. XQ Lund lines them up. He goes for more. Can't get the better of FaZe, but hey, what does it matter at this point? 4-on-1 for FaZe to negotiate, having found that first. Still has 3 more. I don't think you're going to back him against these kinds of odds. But to be fair, BaiSha's giving him some aim duels. Time's a problem.
Yeah, there just isn't any at this point. I mean, it's going to be a quick hunt down from 9, who is also coming to life now as well at a scary time here for GV. 4-1 as we continue forward. They're just really riding that momentum high. GV, they've got to find a way to stop very quickly what's happening to them. It's going to be BaiSha again, though, who want to meet head-on with this B control room fight. Snox opens it up with a nice double kill, but BaiSha right back to answer. It's going to be on to Woonon to hang on to the positioning. Creed still wants the fight. Is the nade going to finish, though? No, it's actually not going to connect. Creed's just dancing here, biding his time, but the rotation is now on to FaZe to see how he can support it.
They've got to keep pushing forward here because they need to collect the C4, and that's why they've gone back. Creed's should have been prepared for that. Wasn't quite, which has left FaZe now in a 1-on-2. I mean, this is a good angle to play from with the Orm, but he's got to get 2 players and just decides to sit in the corner with the Colt instead. Which, of course, is going to allow BaiSha to retrieve the C4 and get out to safety if they want to. Instead, they decide to continue to push forward, and they almost catch FaZe on the timing. They do. Not quite the killing blow, but putting him low and eventually finishing him off. So that is BaiSha up to 5-1. And wow, what a blistering pace is being set here on sub-base. This is way faster than what we saw on compound.
Yeah, it's really coming down to a lot of these rounds fighting over that B control room. GV, they thought they had it because the one round they have won was a really good fight on the B control room position, but now BaiSha's got a pretty good hold on that fight, and that's where GV has to really rethink their approach at this point. You can see FaZe now moving over towards that A bottom position, tries to peek up the staircase, can't find anything out of it though, and has to reset. And this is where the gambles from GV are just so difficult because they have the right timings here to try and make it work, but BaiSha, they're just sitting and waiting for these moments to try and react.
Well, awesome. Sitting on the bomb site, has a huge job to do here, and he's going to have to land some crispy shots. So far, not quite. The first one was a good one onto 577, but he has not stopped the onslaught that BaiSha have brought to the table. And again, XQLun through the vent. He is being a real thorn in the side of GV Esports. It's Seven, who so far only has the one frag in this map to try to clutch out 1 on 4. I'm not liking his chances.
Yeah, at this point, BaiSha, they're going to be looking for that 6th round on the board, and they find it here. And this pace is very, very quickly looking like they're going to take this second map quite handedly at this point. I mean, it's going to be up to Seven to try and IGL them back into it, because right now it's just not looking too good for the side of GV. I'm surprised they haven't tried to stall the momentum somehow, but they're actually meeting it with a lot of aggression throughout.
Well, I mean, I think that's what's really contributing to the pace of this game, right? Both teams look like they want to try to take these early fights. Even again, Snox pushing to the top of the stairs. Hasn't decided to go any further. But Creeds has been caught by Xiao this time around. So just all over the map, you're finding picks from every single individual here for BaiSha. It's not one single standout, right? It's not 9 dropping 27 frags, but no one below 5.
Yeah, and now FaZe is going to be looking for that answer. Back spots Xiao. Xiao, though, almost connects onto him. Would have been an even bigger advantage if they were able to find it, but still, GV is going to hold on to the 4 they have for at least the moment. But this is where the fake is going to pay off. There's been so much pressure towards A that GV isn't going to be really having anyone hold off this B push other than Seven, who shouldn't be able to live too long in this position. But Xiao actually gets hunted down A long, but the rest of the team here for BaiSha is already on the B bomb site. They're going to be able to find 1-7, able to take one down with him. Still a 3-on-3 situation, but the health not so good for GV here.
Man, look at all the util that just got tossed in there by BaiSha. It is going to be a tunnel of smokes that you're going to have to get through to even get onto this bomb site. I just don't see how you're going to be able to do it. I mean, they'll take an alternate route, but like, do you have time for that right now as GV Esports? I'm not thinking so.
Yeah, they have to come back swinging very quickly. There's only about 10 seconds to hop on this bomb, and they have no control over the back of the bomb site. Wunon finds one, 577 finds another. Awesome. He may have a kill, but not the round. 577 closes it out, and this is looking like a very commanding second map from BaiSha, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is not even a contest right now. Okay. Xiao looking for some duels through the doors, won't find a connection. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing from BaiSha. They are just looking so good right now. Maybe they've got a little bit too big for their boots though, as they just try to go very quick into that B bomb site, get a little bit lackadaisical. And this time, kind of walk into a big stack from GV. Xiao will have to show us what he's got in the 1-on-5 if he wants to ensure that there'll be an 8th for BaiSha. I mean, he has started very well. Granted, he doesn't have control of the bomb, but he's got a minute and 50 to play with. He could go anywhere, do anything he wants. And bringing it from a 1-on-5 to a 1-on-3 makes this actually start to look a little more doable.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering Snox and Creeds are both under half HP as well. If he can somehow sneak a rifle here to work with for the remainder of the round, this could definitely go his way. But GV, they've got the 3-man setup to try and secure a trade at the very least in this position. But here comes the wide swing. Yeah. Xiao not ready for it. They'll take him down and at least get a second round out of this half, but it's still going to require a massive effort in the second half to bring this one back. Yeah.
I was going to say, they just need to swing together, right? They've got 3 players. He's not going to be able to kill all of them. He's taking the Orm into that fight, and they did exactly the right thing. So good stuff from GV, but it does only get them an extra round. And 7-2, yeah, it doesn't look ideal so far. Xiao opens the account. Good trades coming through from the rest of BaiSha at this point. Wu9 even helped out there by 9. And it's still a numbers advantage for the moment for BaiSha. GV, though, bringing it back. 577 up against FaZe in the 1-on-1. Bomb control for 577. He's not afraid, not shying away from the fight. Nades and flashes tossed in by FaZe. Has put 577 low, but he still hits the head. And that's what matters. End of the day, BaiSha find another.
1 HP as well. He gets away with it, but they'll take that all day long. Now 2 away from a victory in the second map. GV looking for any hope to try and shut things down, but it doesn't seem too likely at this point. It is going to be up to them, though, to try and dictate the pace on this blacklist side of the map. But right now, they're almost everywhere here, and they're not afraid to play alone either. They don't even need the assistance for the trades at this point. They're just connecting the shots they need to, and it's just showing in their overall performance. I mean, when you look at the scoreboard here, everybody putting in massive effort on the side of BaiSha, 8 and 9 frags apiece on every single player.
Yep. Big clutches coming through as well. That one from 577. Just another nail in the coffin of GV Esports at this point. As if they weren't out of the picture enough. They can't convert that first round of the second half, and momentum continues to persist for BaiSha. FaZe is pushing his way forward, but he is playing a dangerous game with XQLun so close by. Xiao looking up and over the top as well, but it doesn't even come down to that. Wu9 from range gets the better of FaZe. Rifle against Orm.
Now the rotations do start to come through from BaiSha, putting an extra pressure player over towards that B bomb site. The rest of GV trying to work their way back towards A. You can see 577 and 9 getting a little bit more aggressive on the control play, though, to make sure they get that early call if that A push comes through. The nice crouch walk, though, across means there's probably no vision on the side of 9 for this one. It's really going to be up to 577 to stall it out. The counter utility comes down. He's going to swing wide to try and answer back with 9 from above, though, who actually gets a 2-piece to shut it down. 577 finds another 7. He's left alone. He's managed the trade at the very least, but it's still a 4v1, and Xiao already spots him on the back of sight here. XQLun swings from behind to take him down, and it's a 9th round.
Yeah, it's just your standard bait and switch setup, really, isn't it? And we're going to have a technical pause. Not the ideal time for a technical pause, quite frankly, but I guess there never is an ideal time for a tech pause. Yeah, I mean, you could see the idea with that setup, right? 577 just gets the util down, tries to swing back into the safety of his teammates' Crossfire, and 9 does the rest of the job. You're going to back a player like 9, particularly after the game he just played. What's the tech issue going on here? Something on the BaiSha side. You almost wonder, couldn't they have just like won the next round? Sorted it out after? Do they need, maybe his headset's not working. Do they need it at this point? Feels like they could just win.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 9, he could pretty much do it with one hand behind his back, I feel like here. His shot has just been absolutely stellar. But I mean, honestly, the second map, they just look so well-rounded too. You couldn't even pin it on the overall series just being a one-player game for BaiSha like you could in the first map. I mean, Wunan playing great here. Everyone really just putting in the work as a team, and that's where we thought they could be even scarier, because now it's not just a one-player worry here for GV. They're trying to deal with everything all at once, and it seems just overwhelming for them. Yeah,
the pace being set by BaiSha as well is a bit of a problem, isn't it? Throughout the entirety of this map, first and second half, it's felt like BaiSha have been the ones on the front foot. They haven't been shying away from any of the fights. In fact, they've been kind of forcing some of them. And that has... I mean, initially it felt like that was kind of playing into the hands of GV, but very quickly BaiSha kind of adapted and figured out what they needed to do to sort things out. So just waiting for this tech issue to get sorted. Something to do with the monitor. But if it's been happening throughout this map, I dare say it hasn't been a big issue for them.
Yeah, we'll see what happens at this point. Interested to see if they'll be able to close it out in just one more round. Seems pretty likely, though, the way this one's headed, but it is going to be an interesting one to see, I think, potentially when they could meet up with All Gamers later on, because both of them pretty stellar opening matches and really looking like they're both the team to beat in their group.
Who's the MVP for this map? It's a bit of a harder question to answer, I think.
Yeah, it is a bit of a toss-up. I'd say right now, I think Wunon's done a lot of heavy lifting in these key moments, but XQ1 as well having a pretty good map, I would say, from him too. Just always kind of being there to make sure the trades happen when they need to, and it's really just a much more cohesive team performance that we're seeing out of these guys, and you really have to put them in the forefront of this group after what we're seeing in this second map, because first map you could have pinned it on that individual performance, but this time it's a well-rounded one, which is a scary thing to be looking at if you're one of the teams that's yet to face them in this group.
Yeah, I had Wunan in my mind.
Where it's all done, get themselves that extra little bit of confidence to carry forward into their next opponent, because I think the big benefit for GV in this matchup is, you know, knowing who's on the way for them. It's not going to get likely any harder for them and their opponents they face, and the next two I actually think are quite reasonable to think they could have a potential to win some of those games.
Against BaiSha? Or
no, in the future opponents in this group. So
right.
with Ranking and Vasco on the way as their next two opponents.
Yeah, definitely. And let's be real, if they're wanting to make their way into the playoffs, those are probably the teams that they're going to be more likely jostling for that second position with. We're all sort of expecting BaiSha will walk out with first seed from this group, probably undefeated. But you kind of got to beat those teams that you're expecting to be in a similar position to you, and those three other teams will be looking for the second spot. So a win versus them is quite valuable. Yeah, if we see a little bit more of what GV showed us on Compound rather than what they showed us on Subbase so far, then definitely they could be a pretty solid prospect in the next couple of matches they have to play.
Yeah, I think for them, I'd love to see them go toe-to-toe with one of these other teams on Compound. I feel like they could probably win against one of these other teams in the group on that map. Subbase, they just haven't looked pieced together at all across the board on, so we'll see if they maybe keep this in the pool or not moving forward. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually remove this for other teams, considering it's normally a map they actually ban quite a bit in regional play. I think they just drew it here thinking it might be a weaker one for their opponent, but
right.
BaiSha just all around not looking weak at all today, and I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of shakiness from them until maybe deeper into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely a mentality thing, right? When you're doing the pick and ban, you sort of have to think about what kind of approach you want to take. And I've always been an advocate for playing to your own strengths rather than your opponent's weaknesses. I think that is generally a bit of a better way of looking at things, because at least you can have faith that, you know, if everything else goes wrong, you can kind of fall back on your fundamentals and your understanding of the map. But if you're playing on a map that maybe you're not super comfortable on, and it then starts to go poorly because of reasons, what do you then have to fall back on? What can you sort of say, all right, well, plan B, plan C, you know, what kind of change-ups, adaptations can we make? Maybe the playbook isn't quite so deep, and results like this might be more or less exactly what you'd expect in a situation like that. So, yeah, I mean, if it were not for this tech pause, this map, I would say, would be already over.
Yeah, very likely, but I am interested to see actually our third match on the way as well. I'm expecting that one to be a lot more competitive than these first two, just because the Chinese teams are always so dominant. But then we talk about, you know, we have Kara House versus Pacific as our final game of the day. I'm actually pretty excited to see how those teams stack up, because there's actually been some back and forth in those two teams in recent history. So, and I feel like Pacific too is one of those teams that recently they haven't been much of a threat, because they actually weren't at the last CFS, but coming into this event, they actually look pretty strong, and in their regional leagues, they've looked very dominant as well. And it's a team, like we talked about earlier, historically is very, very strong as well. They've got, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 of their older lineup still with them as well. So I think for them, it's just, they're kind of in the same boat as GV. They've been away for a little bit, they're coming back in, and they've got a lot to prove. They've just got a bit of a harder group, I think, to get out of to make that happen.
Nature of the beast sometimes. The group draw can go against you, can go for you. It's one of our local Vietnamese casters. Been hanging out with him a little bit, teaching us all the good words to say. None of them safe for the broadcast. Nah, it wasn't actually him, it was one of the other guys, but there you go. Well, we're at that point of the tech pause. Maybe seeing positive signs, though, from the BaiSha booth, I think. Looks like some headsets are going back on, so maybe we'll be underway shortly. For what really does feel like a formality of a round, I got to be honest with you. But I think we might be okay soon.
Yeah, hopefully hopping back into it shortly, and then we'll see how it concludes. I'd imagine a 1-0 here on the table to close it out, but maybe a few more rounds from GV. They do have a good bounce back after the pause here and there, but at this point, you almost wonder if it's going to be a really aggressive round from BaiSha, just being anxious to get it over after a long wait here.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be super surprised. They've been pretty aggressive throughout this map, so it may not be too surprising to throw another aggressive round in right here. And instantly, a lot of util getting used towards control room. You can see there from GV, but BaiSha actually just maybe holding off the pace a little in this round and taking it a little bit more of a standard approach.
Some early pre-fire here towards the A bomb side. FaZe already down to half HP, kind of stuck here on the back of the A bottom staircase. It is going to be him falling back now for the support of Snox, who's trying to work his way up into the lobby, but Woonon has it smoke screened here. He's going to try and sneak through it. 9, though, actually goes for the ego challenge here from the bottom of the A staircase. Can't find anything just yet, but Woonon able to connect on one through the double doors here. 577 now holding the lower bomb site. He's going to be contested, falls back, playing that corner pocket to open up his teammate. It's going to be 9 on the back of site who finds one. 577 gets the double kill, and 7, he's all that's left, but not for long. Woonon gets it done, and it's a huge map win to close out this series coming out of BaiSha.
Yeah, 10-2, very dominating performance from them so far today. The cleanest game, granted, we've only seen 2 games, but still. 10-7, 10-6 in the first match, and now 10-5, 10-2 in the second match. BaiSha confirmed themselves 2-0 over GV. Bit of an anti